Have you ever noticed? Taurus never needs to prove anything, yet they still make the entire room grow quiet. Their power does not come from noise, but from a steadiness that others instinctively lean on. Today, you will discover 21 secrets behind the silent yet unshakable strength of Taurus. And believe me, secret number 1 will not only surprise you, it will reach deep into your heart like a lesson meant for all of us. Before we begin, leave your zodiac sign and birth date in the comments. I am still here, reading every word, listening to every story you share. Reason 21. Calmness, the ancient weapon of Taurus. The calmness of Taurus is not an empty silence. It is a quiet that has walked through countless storms. When the world trembles, when people panic in the face of loss, Taurus does not rush to react. They stand there, steady as Mother Earth, listening to every crack and collapse without being swept away. Within that composure lies a profound emotional strength, the strength of one who knows that everything moves in cycles, that no storm lasts forever. Taurus feels fear, pain, and chaos around them very clearly, but they do not allow emotion to command their actions. Instead, they hold those feelings, letting them settle, letting them heal themselves. This is what makes Taurus an invisible anchor for others beside them. People feel less afraid, less unsteady, without needing a single word of reassurance. In work, this calmness helps Taurus make wise decisions while others still waver. In relationships, it keeps them from speaking words that wound in moments of impulse. They understand that one careless sentence spoken at the height of emotion can leave a scar that lingers for a very long time. And the lesson Taurus offers us is gentle yet profound. True strength is not reacting the fastest, but knowing how to wait until the heart is calm enough to choose what is right. Reason 20. Loyalty. The silent vow of Taurus. The loyalty of Taurus is not loud, not performative, but once given, it runs as deep as ancient roots gripping the earth. Taurus does not stay out of habit, nor out of fear of loneliness. They stay because the heart has chosen, and when a Taurus heart chooses, it chooses slowly, carefully, and with truth. That is why their loyalty does not waver in the face of trials, misunderstandings, or time. In love, Taurus is not the one who leaves when feelings cool. They believe love is not only emotion, but a decision to stay and repair together. When others let go easily, Taurus becomes more patient. Not because they feel no pain, but because they cherish what has been built with emotion and time. In work and friendship, this loyalty makes Taurus a rare kind of trustworthy. They keep their word, protect those on their side, and do not turn away for short-term gain. To Taurus, betrayal is not only hurting another, it is betraying their own way of living. This loyalty is also a form of healing. Beside Taurus, people feel safe, knowing they will not be easily abandoned at their weakest. And perhaps the greatest lesson Taurus whispers to the world is this: in a world too accustomed to leaving, loyalty is the bravest form of love. Reason 19. Emotional endurance. The art of walking through pain without losing the self. Taurus is not someone who feels no pain. They are someone who feels deeply, yet chooses not to shatter. The emotional endurance of Taurus does not come from numbness, but from a quiet belief. Every pain carries a message. When hurt, Taurus does not rush to blame, does not run away, and does not turn themselves into a victim. They step back and hold their emotions the way one holds a crying child, long enough, patiently enough, for the pain to say everything it needs to say. There are periods when Taurus grows silent for a very long time, not because they need no one, but because they are healing themselves. In that stillness, they learn to breathe with sadness, to walk alongside loss, and to let time do its work. This is what allows Taurus to mature in a way uniquely their own, not loudly, but deeply and lastingly. In relationships, this emotional endurance helps Taurus not run away when things become difficult. They understand that people are not always beautiful, and that real love will have weary days. Taurus stays, not out of fear of loss, but because they believe what survives pain becomes more truthful. And the lesson Taurus leaves behind is quiet yet powerful. Not everyone who endures much is weak. Some endure much because they know how not to lose their heart within suffering. Reason 18. The ability to form deep, lasting bonds. The strength of rooted relationships. Taurus does not create shallow connections. They build relationships the way one plants a tree slowly, deeply, and with roots. From the very beginning, Taurus does not seek crowds. They seek truth. One person to trust, one place to belong, one relationship safe enough to be fully themselves. Because of this, when Taurus commits, that bond carries the weight of time, of memory, of all the moments survived together. They remember for a long time those who stood by them when they were at their weakest. And Taurus lets go with great difficulty, not because they cling, but because they honor what has been built together. In love, Taurus is the one who creates the feeling of home, a place others can return to without wearing a mask. In work and friendship, this ability to form lasting bonds allows Taurus to build long-term relationships rooted in trust and mutual respect. They do not use relationships as tools. To Taurus, people are always people, never means to an end. This kind of bonding also carries healing energy. Around Taurus, people feel held, valued, seen. And in a world so accustomed to replacement, that feeling becomes incredibly precious. The lesson Taurus whispers here is this: relationships with roots do not only help us stand steady, they nourish us as we grow, day by day. Reason 17. Quiet intuition, the voice of Mother Earth, within Taurus. Taurus intuition is not loud like a sudden flash of insight. It arrives slowly, deeply, and firmly like the earth whispering beneath bare feet. Taurus senses situations not through rushed assumptions, but through a subtle feeling of safety or unease within. They may not speak it immediately, but inside, they already know. They know who can be trusted. They know what should continue. They know when to stop before everything breaks apart. This intuition is nurtured through experience, through waiting long enough for truth to reveal itself. In relationships, Taurus often feels change before it turns into words. They notice the smallest distance in a gaze, the slightest misalignment in silence. But instead of exposing it, they observe. They give others a chance, give truth time. This is the intuition of someone who does not want to win but wants to understand. In work and major decisions, intuition helps Taurus avoid choices that look glamorous but are hollow inside. They choose paths that are slow yet steady, quiet yet fruitful. And often, when everything settles, people realize that Taurus had been right from very early on. The lesson Taurus leaves is gentle yet profound. Not every voice needs to be loud. Some truths can only be heard when we are quiet enough. Reason 16. Steadfast compassion, a healing strength that seeks no title. Taurus compassion does not flare up in a moment. It stays. Taurus cares for others not out of obligation, nor for recognition. They help in very ordinary ways, staying longer when someone is exhausted, listening one more time when the story is already old, quietly carrying part of the burden without taking credit. This compassion is as steady as underground water, unseen, yet nourishing an entire field. Taurus understands that everyone carries a wound. Because of this, they rarely judge. Instead, they choose gentleness with people, even when they themselves are hurting. Taurus's emotional strength lies in this. They do not allow pain to turn them into someone cold. In love, compassion allows Taurus to love even the unhealed parts of another. They do not love an illusion, but the real human being with fatigue, mistakes, and imperfect days. In friendship and work, this creates a rare safe space, where others are allowed to be vulnerable without fear of being abandoned. And the lesson Taurus offers: the world is profoundly gentle. Healing is not about saving someone, it is about staying beside them long enough for them to rise on their own. Reason 15. Quiet creativity, the ability to turn life into art. Taurus's creativity is not loud, not showy. It flows slowly, deeply, and truthfully like an underground spring beneath brown earth. Taurus creates with all their senses. They experience the world through scent, sound, color, and even the silences between people. Because of this, anything Taurus creates, whether a home, a meal, a relationship, or a project, carries the feeling of being tended to and alive. They do not create to impress. They create to nurture. In work, this quiet creativity helps Taurus find solutions that are practical yet deeply humane. They do not chase novelty for the sake of novelty, but choose what fits, what lasts, what can stand with time. In art and in life, Taurus often creates a kind of beauty that brings others a sense of peace, beauty that needs no explanation, only a touch to be felt. This creativity is also a form of healing. Taurus turns wounds into aesthetics, exhaustion into something gentler, so life can continue. They teach us that creativity does not have to erupt sometimes. It is simply the way we keep our hearts from drying out. The lesson Taurus leaves behind is very soft. When we live slowly enough and truthfully enough, life itself becomes a work of art. Reason 14. Emotional rebirth, rising after what no one sees. Taurus does not collapse easily, but if they do, they know how to rise quietly and powerfully. Taurus's capacity for emotional rebirth comes from their refusal to deny pain. They allow themselves to feel sad, tired, empty, but they do not remain there. Little by little, Taurus gathers the broken pieces, not to rebuild who they once were, but to become a deeper version of themselves. There are pains Taurus does not speak of, not because they do not trust anyone, but because they trust time and their own inner strength. They understand that not every wound needs consolation. Some wounds need silence to heal. And once healed, Taurus moves forward without carrying bitterness. In relationships, this rebirth allows Taurus to love again, to trust again, even after being deeply hurt. They do not let the past define the future, yet they do not forget its lessons. This is what creates a rare emotional strength, soft but unbreakable. The lesson Taurus offers us is profoundly compassionate. You do not need to return to who you were returning. Steadier is enough. Reason 13. Authenticity. Taurus's unmovable moral anchor. Taurus's authenticity is not about saying everything. It is about living true to what they believe, even when no one is watching. Taurus has a very clear moral compass. They dislike psychological games, are unfamiliar with masks, and are unwilling to say what goes against their heart, simply to be liked. This plain-spoken honesty sometimes causes Taurus to be misunderstood as rigid, but in truth, it is an expression of deep self-respect. In relationships, Taurus brings a sense of safety because others know exactly where they stand. They are not ambiguous, not vague in their promises. If Taurus stays, it is because they are sincere. If they leave, it is because a core value has been touched. This honesty may hurt at first, but over time, it heals because it does not allow anyone to live inside an illusion. In work and in life, Taurus chooses the slower but right path. It may take longer, but in return comes peace of mind. And when night falls, they sleep soundly, knowing they did not betray themselves for short-term gain. The lesson Taurus leaves behind is quiet, but profoundly real. Living authentically does not make life easier, but it makes the heart lighter. Reason 12. The ability to care and nurture. Love shown through action. Taurus does not love through flowery words. They love through steady presence. Taurus's caring nature shows itself in very small things. Remembering what you like, quietly preparing when you are tired, staying when no one else wants to stay. They do not see caring for others as sacrifice for Taurus. It is instinct. The instinct of someone who understands that love is not a fleeting emotion, but a gentle responsibility that stretches across years. In family, Taurus is the keeper of the flame. In love, they are a place to lean on. In friendship and work, they are the one who makes others feel truly respected and genuinely cared for. Taurus's care does not make people dependent. On the contrary, it creates the conditions for others to grow stronger. This nurturing energy carries immense healing power. Beside Taurus, people learn to slow down, learn to listen to their bodies and emotions. They remind us that we do not always need to try harder sometimes. Being cared for in the right way is enough to help us continue. And the lesson Taurus offers the world is deeply gentle. Sustainable love is not loud, it is built from small acts repeated every day. Reason 11. Deep sensitivity. The ability to feel what others have not yet said. Taurus's sensitivity is not loud like crashing waves. It is warm water flowing close to the shore, subtle enough to touch what has not yet found words. Taurus can sense the atmosphere of a room, the breathing rhythm of a relationship, the smallest change in another's eyes. They do not need you to tell everything often. Just a pause is enough for Taurus to understand. But their true strength lies not in knowing, but in how gently they treat what they feel. In love and friendship, this sensitivity helps Taurus avoid causing harm unintentionally. They choose the right moment to speak, the right tone to protect, and sometimes choose silence so others can feel safe. Taurus understands that human emotions are fragile, touch too hard, and they will shatter. Sensitivity also makes Taurus easier to be hurt. That is true. But they do not see it as a weakness. Instead, they learn to live with it, turning it into an emotional compass. Because of this, Taurus has a rare ability to connect deeply, not on the surface, not socially. Beside them, people feel seen, heard with the whole heart. And the lesson Taurus gives to life is profoundly compassionate. Sensitivity does not make us weaker, it reminds us to live more kindly with one another. Reason 10. Emotional generosity. Giving without demanding. Taurus's generosity is not showy. It comes from a heart that is not afraid of running empty. Taurus gives time, patience, presence, things far more valuable than any material gift. When they are with you, they are truly there. No distraction, no calculation. They listen fully, stay fully, and trust fully until there is a very deep reason to stop. In relationships, Taurus is often the one who gives more without realizing it. Not because they do not know their worth, but because they believe that love, when given in the right place, will return in another form. This generosity creates a rare sense of safety. Beside Taurus, people do not have to strain themselves to be worthy. Makeskald Bavit. In work and in life, Taurus is willing to share experience, to support others without fear of being surpassed. They understand that success is not a solitary race, and it is this attitude that earns them lasting respect, not because they give a lot, but because they give with their whole character. The lesson Taurus whispers is warmly simple. When the heart is full, giving does not make us poorer, it makes us wider. Reason 9. Loyalty. The red thread that extends Taurus's fate. Taurus's loyalty is not a vow spoken at the height of emotion. It is the quiet choice to stay when everything is no longer beautiful. Taurus does not enter a relationship with a spirit of experimentation. They observe for a long time, weigh things carefully, because they understand that once the heart has nodded yes, they will go very far. That is why, when Taurus is loyal, it is not a habit, it is a choice renewed each day, even when there are reasons to walk away. In love, Taurus is the one who does not turn their back when emotions pass through a quiet, barren stretch. They believe true connection is not found in radiant days, but in the exhausted days when hands are still held. They do not betray on impulse. They do not waver before temptation, because to Taurus, betraying another is also betraying themselves. In work and friendship, loyalty makes Taurus a steady pillar. They do not abandon the team when times are hard. They do not withdraw when benefits have yet to arrive. People trust Taurus not because they make many promises, but because they are always there when it matters. This loyalty carries a deeply healing quality. Beside Taurus, others feel they are not easily replaceable. In a world accustomed to, can be replaced, Taurus chooses to stay and repair. End quote. With a talk departively, and the lesson Taurus leaves behind is quietly profound. Loyalty is not being bound, it is the strength of one who is steady enough not to need an escape. Reason 8. The ability to protect emotions. Taurus's silent fortress. Taurus protects the ones they love, not with grand promises. They protect through a presence that lasts long enough for fear to dissolve. Taurus has a rare ability to create an emotionally safe space. With them, People are allowed to be weak, allowed to speak imperfectly, allowed to remain silent without being rushed. Taurus does not intrude, does not judge. They stand there grounded, warm, and patient enough for others to open their hearts in their own time. During times of crisis, Taurus becomes an emotional shield. They carry part of the confusion, keep the rhythm for others when the inner world is in chaos. Not because they are never tired, but because they understand that someone must remain standing when another is falling. In love, Taurus protects their partner's emotions by refusing to say words that cannot be taken back. They choose silence when angry, choose listening when the other is lost. This is emotional wisdom honed through repeated endurance, the strength of one who knows that wounds linger for a very long time. The ability to protect emotions is also a deep form of healing. Beside Taurus, people learn how to soothe themselves, how to feel safe within their own hearts. And when emotions are safeguarded, a person can grow without breaking. The lesson Taurus whispers is profoundly compassionate. Love is not holding tight, it is standing guard so another's heart remains whole. Reason 7. Genuine gentleness. The strength of not needing defense. The gentleness of Taurus is not a fragile appearance. It is the calm assurance of one who is firmly rooted within. Taurus treats people gently, not because they are naive, but because they deeply understand how fragile emotions can be. They know a careless word can leave a mark that lasts longer than any action. And so Taurus chooses slowness, chooses a lowered voice, chooses gestures warm enough that others do not need to shrink inward. In love, this gentleness allows the other to be fully themselves. No strain, no performance. Taurus creates a space where one is not afraid of being hurt again. They do not love through drama, but through kindness repeated day after day. This gentleness is also a rare form of emotional strength. It shows that Taurus does not need to attack in order to protect themselves. They are steady enough not to build thorny fences around their heart, and it is precisely this that makes others willingly stay. The lesson Taurus offers is soft yet deep. Gentleness is not a lack of strength. It is the sign of an inner world that has been carefully tempered. Reason 6. Steadfast devotion. Staying until everything is mended. Taurus devotion does not arrive in a single moment. It stays when others have grown tired and walked away. Taurus does nothing halfway. Once they accept a relationship, a job, or a responsibility, they carry it as a living part of their life. Even when progress is slow, they move steadily. Even when exhausted, they do not loosen their grip easily. This is not blind stubbornness, it is a deep belief that what is truly valuable requires time. In relationships, devotion makes Taurus someone who repairs rather than discards. They believe people are not disposable. When cracks appear, Taurus does not look for the fastest exit, but for a deeper understanding. They stay, they listen, and they do their part even when no one is watching. This devotion carries immense healing energy. Beside Taurus, others learn that not every hardship is a sign of an ending. Some seasons are simply trials meant to help a relationship grow stronger. The lesson Taurus whispers with enduring softness. Staying through difficulty does not trap us. It gives us the chance to turn love into something lasting. Reason 5. Quiet dedication. Giving without needing to be remembered. Taurus dedication does not require an audience. It unfolds in the most ordinary days. Taurus gives their strength, time, and patience without calculating gain or loss. They do not act out of moral obligation, nor to be recognized. For Taurus, once love exists, dedication becomes as natural as breathing. They are the ones standing behind the scenes, keeping everything steady so others can move forward in peace. In family, Taurus handles things silently. At work, they carry the hardest tasks. In love, they are the ones who remain the longest when things are no longer easy. This dedication does not weaken Taurus, on the contrary, it nourishes a deep inner strength. Because they know they are living in alignment with the values of their heart. Taurus dedication also carries healing energy. Beside them, others feel they are not fighting alone, And it is precisely this sense of being supported that makes people stronger, not more dependent. The lesson Taurus leaves behind, quiet yet enduring. Some forms of love do not need to be remembered because they have already become the foundation. Reason 4. Mature emotional intelligence. Knowing how to hold oneself and others. Taurus emotional intelligence does not come from books. It is honed through moments of well-timed silence. Taurus understands their emotions clearly, yet does not allow them to blindly dictate behavior. When angry, they step back. When sad, they allow themselves to be sad but do not pour it onto others. This is a rare emotional maturity, formed through taking responsibility for one's own inner world. In relationships, emotional intelligence helps Taurus know when to speak, when to listen, and when to pause to avoid causing deeper wounds. They do not seek to win arguments because they understand that winning a conversation may mean losing a person. This maturity makes Taurus an exceptionally safe, emotional anchor. Beside them, others are not provoked, not pressured to be perfect. Every emotion has a place, yet no emotion is allowed to destroy. The lesson Taurus whispers, deeply human. Emotional maturity is not the absence of emotion, it is knowing where it belongs. Reason 3. Loyalty to life principles. An unbendable pillar of existence. Taurus does not change their stance easily. Not because they are stubborn, but because they have thought very deeply before choosing what to believe. Inside every Taurus lives a clear inner code. What is allowed, what is not, what can be accepted, and what can never be compromised. These principles are not written down, yet they are etched deeply through lived experience, through wounds, and through the many moments when Taurus had to choose between what was easy and what was right. Time and again, Taurus chose the harder path, so as not to betray themselves. In relationships, this loyalty to principle makes Taurus a rare kind of dependable soul. They do not change their values to please others, yet they also do not force their values upon anyone. If Taurus stays, it is because the core boundaries are still being honored. If they leave, it is because a sacred line has been crossed, and they depart quietly, without resentment. In work and in life, living by principle allows Taurus to go far. They may move slowly, but they do not lose their way. And it is this consistency that builds true credibility, something no words can buy. The lesson Taurus leaves behind is profound. Holding firm to one's principles does not make us rigid, it keeps us from dissolving under. Reason 2. The ability to adapt without losing the self. The power of earth that knows how to shift. Taurus does not like change. But when change is necessary, they change with endurance. Unlike surface-level flexibility, Taurus's adaptability happens from within. They do not rush toward the new just to survive. They observe, weigh carefully, and then adjust little by little, like soil cracking open to welcome new roots, while still preserving its life-giving essence. During times of upheaval, Taurus may move a beat slower than others. Yet that slower rhythm protects their identity. They do not turn themselves into someone else to be accepted. Instead, they expand who they already are, carrying their old values gently into new circumstances. In relationships, this adaptability allows Taurus to love again, to trust again, to learn new ways of communicating without sacrificing self-respect or loyalty. They change in order to preserve, not to disappear. The lesson Taurus offers the world is steady and true. Adaptation does not mean dissolving sometimes. It is how we protect our deepest essence. Reason 1. The ability to stay, the most sacred strength of Taurus. When things become difficult, Taurus does not ask, "Should I leave?" To taste, they ask, "What is still worth staying for?" Monster. The ability to stay is not resignation. It is a conscious choice made by a heart that understands the value of time, memory, and connection. Taurus stays with love when the fire has faded, stays with people who are unfinished, wounded, still becoming, stays with themselves through their most exhausting seasons when faith trembles, when the world offers no clear answers. This staying is quiet, asks for no recognition, yet carries the weight of an unspoken vow. In relationships, Taurus does not walk away because of one difficult chapter. They understand that real love is not measured by emotional peaks, but by how many times we choose each other again from the beginning. They repair before they conclude. They listen before they leave. And even when departure becomes necessary, Taurus leaves with respect without destroying what once existed. This ability to stay carries a deeply healing energy. It makes others feel they are not easily replaceable. In a world accustomed to retreating at the first pain, Taurus teaches us that staying, too, is a form of courage. And the greatest lesson Taurus leaves for humanity is quiet, yet echoes for a long time. Strength does not lie in how far we can go, but in how deeply we are able to love enough to stay when others have already walked away.